What's up guys, in this video we're going to be checking out the top 5 video editing hacks for DaVinci Resolve. This is going to feature a variety of different editing tricks, hacks and things that you can use to really push up your editing game. These are going to include removing backgrounds such as colours, people, items or shapes, using different templates to create a better video, different zoom in and focus effects, and I'm also going to include a bonus 6th step right at the end, so make sure you stick around to check it out because that one's going to be one of the most insightful ones. Number 1, we're going to get started with removing colours. This is usually done in terms of green screen, however using this method you can actually remove any colour from your video, different shades of colours or multiple colours at one time. It's a great editing trick, especially if you're using green screen and you don't want to use the generic TikTok green screen, you want to do your own so it looks professional, more like a movie on the news, and this is going to be how we do it.
So here we have a video with the actual screen which is green, so we can actually take that out and then replace it completely. The best and easiest way to do this is by coming over to your Colors tab on DaVinci. From here select the qualifier. If you're still on the slightly older updated version or non-updated version, just make sure to come over and click 3D. If yours is more updated, it's either on this already or just make sure to check this. Now what you're going to want to do is simply scribble over the only place which has your color or any area that has the color that you want to remove. After doing that, we're simply going to right click. We're going to go to add alpha output, and then we're going to drag from this blue square over to the blue circle to make the connection. Great, you'll notice now that unfortunately it's actually done the other thing, so it's removed everything but the green. Very simple fix for that. We're just going to come over here and we are going to press the invert button. Now just to tidy up, you can also go ahead and use the D-spill to take any green out of the corners, and also clean black effect or clean white. I would not go too heavy on this, just test it out first, see what works best for you. Now if we simply put that video over an image or a video, you're going to see that we've easily filled up whatever colour we have and replaced it with a back image.
Number 2 is going to be removing areas from your video. There's been many times where I've recorded video and I've looked into the background and there's something or somebody that you don't want in the picture or the video. Luckily, using DaVinci Resolve we can actually remove this quite easily. It only takes a few seconds, and once you've done it once you know how to do it forever on afterwards. So let's get into it and let's find out the second hack.
Now let's get down to removing an area on DaVinci. As you can see, this is a very nice picture here, and you can of course do this with video as well, but we don't really like this little white mark here. So let's go ahead and get removing. Let's head over to our color tab. From here we're going to go ahead and add an alpha output, so we're just going to drag it from the blue square to the blue circle. Now we're going to come down to the window option. You can choose a square, however I'm going to choose the little pen over here, click this little icon, and if I zoom in a bit I'm simply going to select this area by clicking the corners that I want to remove, such as this, and then completing my square. Make any adjustments as needed. Now all we're going to do is we're going to move that video or image up. We're going to put the same exact one underneath, and again this does work exactly for videos. Come over to your edit section, select the underneath picture. We can now move the underneath picture so we can get an actual piece of wood or an area that we want to show, which will simply match up nicely like this. If it's not matching exactly, you can also change the softness of the corners, and it's just a case of just playing around until you move it to suit that particular area. You can play around with the opacity, colours until it basically matches up.
Right guys, now to number 3. This is going to be using video templates for DaVinci Resolve. You can get these for free or using paid versions, and they're going to give you some really amazing effects without you having to spend the entire day editing, zooming, cropping, adding different ratios, colours, titles. They pretty much all come ready to go for you to just put in your images, videos and titles. So let's get down to how to do that.
So let's take a look at using video templates on DaVinci. Once you've downloaded it, you can then go and right click on your untitled project, go to Restore Project Archive, and then find the folder you downloaded. I'm going to be selecting the Urban Opener, 12 seconds, and then press open. Now that looks a bit like a scrambled mess, but however, once we do open it, you're going to find that it has everything ready for you and ready to go. I mean, simply you're just going to upload your media. All the text files have been made ready for you, so you can just come select the tab, make sure that you make the changes on here, change any of the font settings, stuff like that, and even other stuff like the placeholders ready for you, with markers where you have to put your images and videos. The best thing is that actually some of these actually also come with help, and they come with a helpful tutorial. These tutorials would literally guide you through every part of creating that video using the template.
Number 4 guys, that's going to be custom camera focus. Of course you can use the zoom in, zoom out button. However, this doesn't give you the customization if you really want to go for a truly customized video, showing different areas, zooming in, zooming out in the right places. This is another one that once you really do have the knowledge to go about and use this for almost every element in DaVinci. So let's go ahead and check out how to do that.
Let's take a look at custom focusing areas and zooming. Again, we're just going to use the picture for this just because it's easier to watch when I'm recording rather than having a live video. However, you do this exactly the same with a video. So first of all, we're going to select the clip that we want, and basically we're going to be using the transform section over here and these little points. The easiest way for you to remember this is these are basically remembrance points or markers of which you want things to change. So now if I play the clip, it's simply just going to play just the picture or the video that I've got in there. However, say that I want to start at the start and by halfway I want it to have zoomed in somewhat. What we're going to do with the clip selected is we're going to come over to the zoom and position section and we're just going to set it. So this is going to set it exactly where it is right now. Now I'm going to move the line on the timeline to where I want it to be zoomed in to the max, and here I'm simply going to zoom it in to how far I want it to be zoomed in. As you can see, this has now gone red because this has now changed between the first set point and the point that we've just put it to now. If we go back here, we can see that now if we play it, it's just going to simply zoom into that point. From here you can leave it at this point, but you might want it to zoom back out again on the same clip. So what do? Here we're going to just move it forward a bit to where we want to start the zoom out. I'm simply going to set another marker point on each of these. Then I'm going to move it right to the end of the clip, and then I'm going to zoom back out to what it was originally, which is 1000 on zoom and nothing on position. So realistically I didn't need to set the marker, however I like to just in case I do go and change one of these position markers. Now if we roll it back, we're going to see that it's zoomed in like this. Once we put it towards the end, it's then going to quickly zoom out just to the right point. Now once you learn this trick, you can actually use this on almost every element because you notice that they have it next to them. So just a quick last example on this clip, if we then want it to rotate for instance, or change the rotation angle, we can set the rotation angle to start right there and say we want it to rotate up until this point. So now that I've moved it to the timeline area, like the finish point of the marker, I'm then going to put the rotation. So now if we put it forward, if we go ahead and rewind it and we press play, it's not only going to zoom in, but then it's also going to rotate. Again, this can be used for almost every aspect on DaVinci. Just another fun little thing that you can do is actually do slight animation. Obviously this isn't going to be the best animation, but for instance we're going to put this car over here. I'm just going to take a note of where I want it to end up, which is going to be 1800 and something, and then when it's going to begin we're just going to leave it there at the start of the timeline. So the car's going to begin there. I'm going to put my timeline marker right at the start. Now just to be a bit more technical, I don't actually need to use the zoom, so I'm not going to be using in, I'm simply going to be changing the position. So I'm going to set the marker right here, and then I'm going to pull it right to the end of the clip where I'm going to want it to finish off. Where am I going to want it to finish off? Let's put it over here, so this is going to be where it finishes off, and then it's going to zoom from one end to the other. So if we rewind it, press play, we're now going to get a car that is slowly driving past at the same time.
Number 5 is going to seem simple, but it's actually quite an important one, especially if you spend hours sat there editing. Clicking between the select button and the cut button isn't really, doesn't take a lot of time or effort. However, if this is the 1000th time you're doing it because you're editing a massive film, using the following hotkeys is going to help dramatically. By shaving a second off every time you do it, 1000 times a second actually builds up to quite a long time.
So here we come to solve the annoyance for anybody that edits for hours and hours at a time. Obviously, doing a small clip like this is quite easy. You just switch between select and then cut to cut the clips. However, when you're doing an extremely long project and you're having to go and switch every 2 seconds, it can become a little annoying having to click these. Much easier in fact is it just to press B on your keyboard. Cut the selection you want and then press A for it to go back to the selection marker. So that's B to go to the blade, A to go to the marker.
So thanks for watching the top 5 editing hacks, guys. Now comes time for number 6, which is going to be the bonus one, and this is going to be the hotkeys to use for DaVinci Resolve. We just went over 2 hotkeys for selection and cutting. However, these are going to be my top hotkeys that you can use so you can edit faster, more efficiently, and it really helps for a less stress-free editing experience.
Now for the bonus step, and we're going to be going through some of the most popular hotkeys to use to save you time whilst editing. Starting off with the simple ones, Control and C, just like on a computer, will copy the clip, and then Control and V will then paste it directly where you've put your timeline. So if I move my timeline over there, that's where it's going to paste it. Control and Z is going to do an undo, and if you want to redo it, hold Control, Shift and Z to redo it. Now when you want to delete in the clip in the middle, sometimes you want it to leave the gap in the middle, sometimes you don't. Now if we go ahead and press delete, that's going to delete the gap and then it's going to pull the other clip to the left. However, if we undo that, select the clip and then press backspace, it's going to delete it but leave that section in the middle. Setting markers to remember where you are important, however clicking the markers are a bit more annoying. To set the markers, you can press I to set it, go to the other area and then press O to set the end point. So I for the start point, O for the end point. Playing, stopping and reversing, you don't also have to press these buttons right here. To play forward, you can press L, to stop you can press K, and to play backwards you can press J. And finally, let's look at looping your clip. To do this, we're going to be doing a control, and we're going to be doing plus, and that's simply going to loop your clip as many times as you press it.
So thanks for taking the time to watch this, guys, and if you are still here, make sure to check out the video popping up now, which is going to show you the top 4 AI tools that you can use to help grow your channel, business or brand. So with that, we'll see you in the next video.